What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of
The Punchline!
My name's Jonathan Leonard,
My name's Peyton.
and we are happy to be with you again today. And yes, we did have some awesome cuts today, did we not, Peyton?
Yup.
Peyton got his hard part shining right there. So we're ready to go, and we saw a tremendous Raw show last night. Had a couple surprise endings, a couple surprise segments in the show, and so we'd like to get on with that, start talking about it. What do you think, Peyton? Just real quick.
I think this Raw was great. Especially the main event
Yeah.
and the surprises.
Yeah. So let's start off. Roman Reigns comes out with his Universal Championship belt on his shoulder, and he's calling out who else?
Braun Strowman.
The Monster Among Men.
Yep.
Braun Strowman and
The Monster in the Bank.
Monster in the Bank.
Wait, is he still a monster?
He's still Monster in the Bank for a second. He comes down to the ring. He's got his briefcase with his contract in it, and he says that he wants to cash it in at Hell in a Cell.
Ooh.
So the match was set up. So now we have Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns at Hell in a Cell for the Universal Championship match. Then,
I
while
don't think that match will be that good. Just because it's Braun and everything Braun does to a lot of people. First, Roman Reigns will probably start defeating him. 5 seconds later, Braun will just go and start just throwing him around. That's my prediction of how the match is going to be.
we'll see. We still have a couple weeks before the pay-per-view, and it may be an exciting match. It may be a dud. You just never know. So give it a couple weeks. It's going to build up. We'll see what happens and see what we think then. So while they're talking, here comes Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler, and they're talking about Dolph Ziggler's talking about his beef with Seth Rollins. Obviously, you have Seth Rollins, you have Roman Reigns, and you have Dean Ambrose as the Shield now. They're back together. And so they're kind of all tying in to one another. But, so while they're talking, you have Drew McIntyre, you have Dolph Ziggler on the stage, you have Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns in the ring. Then here comes acting general manager out, his Baron Corbin, and he's talking about, well, he confirms the match of the Hell in a Cell match, and he says that the main event for tonight's Raw, or last night's Raw, will be Drew McIntyre, Dolph Ziggler versus the Monster in the Bank, and Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns. So that's something to look forward to.
Yep.
So, next we have Baron Corbin. He sets his own match again against Finn Balor, and so they have another match against each other.
And this sucks.
Well, not necessarily. Now, I do not care for Baron Corbin. I don't think he's that good of a wrestler. I do like Finn Balor, though. Baron Corbin, I think, is a very dull wrestler. But during the match, he uses a chair and gets disqualified. But because he's acting general manager, after he gets disqualified, he gets on the microphone and says, well, I've been so busy that I didn't say that it was a no disqualification match. So he gets the chair, hits Finn Balor again, and pins Finn Balor for the win.
That's the reason why I didn't like it.
So, Baron Corbin, again, I think he's boring. Don't care too much for him. We'll see if this continues to go, this feud between him and Finn Balor.
Hopefully it doesn't.
Yeah, I'm done with it. Done with it.
I've never been with it.
Baron Corbin, you can go off and do something. Finn Balor, let's get you into a meaningful match and a meaningful feud. Next, talking about bad matches, Sasha Banks versus Dana Brooke. Dana Brooke is not a very good wrestler. Sasha Banks is, and she wins.
Yeah, Dana Brooke, like, she had her times, a few.
I don't think she ever had a time, Peyton. She never really had.
In video games, she has.
Huh?
Video games.
Video? Oh.
Yeah, she's always been good in video games,
Oh.
it seems like. Like, if Sasha Banks was rated 70 overall, then Dana Brooke would be rated like 98 overall.
Dana Brooke?
Yeah, I know she's she's bad.
Huh. I don't know. I guess you know more about that than I do. But anyway, Sasha Banks wins. Then we have Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is the Intercontinental Champion, and he's in the ring and he sets up an open challenge for anybody. An open challenge, if you don't know what an open challenge is, that's he invites anybody to the ring for a fight, for a wrestling match. And they're in Toronto, Canada. So, who's a Canadian that's very good in WWE? One of the Canadians would be Kevin Owens.
He's a Canadian?
He is Canadian. He's from Montreal, though, not Toronto. So, Kevin Owens' music hits, and here he comes down to the ring. And it was a good match. Kevin Owens is a great wrestler. He did get destroyed by Braun Strowman, but Kevin Owens is a good wrestler. Even if you don't like him.
Well, yeah, I don't like him, but he is a good wrestler. The only reason I don't like him is because I've always thought it was funny how Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho was a team, and I just got really mad at him once he turned down Chris Jericho. I was like, why?
Yeah, but that's what's so awesome about Kevin Owens is he is a true bad guy. And he can talk, he's a great talker, and he can wrestle. So he should never be a good guy. He should always be a bad guy because he makes people hate him. And you got to have those kind of people in wrestling.
Do you?
You do.
Oh man, you do. I don't like those people.
So we have that match. We have Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins, and after a little back and forth, it was a really good wrestling match. Seth Rollins wins with a curb stomp. So
Ooh, I like that.
Kevin Owens it's been a rough go for him since he's been on Raw. From leaving, he was on SmackDown. They sent him to Raw. He just had you just got to have those kind of people. You got to have people like Kevin Owens.
Yeah, but I'm not a big fan of him. I just
you
don't like him.
You don't have to be. So anyway, after the match, after Seth Rollins beats Kevin Owens,
Which was
you kind of hear the crowd start saying KO, KO, KO. Obviously, he's Canadian. They're in Canada. Seth Rollins gave him kind of like a thumbs up saying, yep, that was a really good match. They go to a commercial break, and then Kevin Owens is still sitting in the middle of the ring. And he's on a chair, and he sits there, it seems like, for 5 minutes. And then he just says, I quit. And then he just walks out of the ring and walks out. So I don't know what that means. I'm sure it does not mean that he really quits. They'll change the storyline somehow.
I know what's going to happen. Like, it's going to be like, he's going to come back for the Universal Championship at Hell in a Cell.
I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back with someone, and what I've heard rumor is that Paul Heyman could, he may come back. He could be a Paul Heyman guy, so I think that'd be a pretty good combination of the two. What?
Oh no.
What's so funny?
Oh no, it's just Paul Heyman, like. Oh no, I just think it looked funny. Like, cause people would be so used with him to be with Brock Lesnar, this big, muscly guy without a shirt. And then you would just see this big, chubby guy. I just feel like everybody would think it's, I don't know, kind of weird.
Yeah. Stranger things have happened in wrestling, Peyton. That's for sure. Next up, we have Elias. And what does WWE stand for, Peyton?
World Wrestling Entertainment.
Walk with Elias, Peyton. Walk with Elias. Of course, that's Elias's.
Okay.
That's his thing. That's what he always says. And so he does his little
If that's how
spiel.
we
He's
can
playing
roll
his
like that.
guitar. Do what?
If we can roll like that, I guess we can. If you want to. We
Okay.
can roll with the walk with Elias, but
He's pretty cool too.
yeah,
He's going to be another good guy that people are going to hate.
a good guy that people hate.
Yep.
I like that saying.
Then, while he's interrupted, like he always is, by Trish Stratus, another Canadian, a Hall of Famer,
So
and
isn't she like? I'm about to say, isn't she a? What's it called? Isn't she retired?
yeah,
Did she get hurt?
I don't think so. But she just retired, and so she's coming back for the Evolution. She's going to be on the Evolution pay-per-view, the all-female pay-per-view, and she's wrestling against Alexa Bliss at Evolution. So they have to promote that a little bit. So she comes down there. She's talking to Elias. She's telling Elias to stop talking crap about Toronto because she's from Toronto, and they are going back and forth. And then Elias says something to the effect of, well, I know why you really came down, because you wanted to walk with Elias, but Elias does not date women in their 60s. Well, I think Trish Stratus is actually in her 40s. And once he says that, she smacks the snot out of him. And so, then you have Ronda Rousey come down. Then you have Natalya come down. Then you have Alexa Bliss, Alicia Fox, and then Mickey James, and they all come down. And again, it's all centered around the Evolution pay-per-view. But we have Alicia Fox versus Natalya in a match. Alicia Fox, another one who's not very good. Natalya wins.
I haven't seen Natalya in forever.
Yeah, her dad passed away, and so she's been gone.
Who was her dad again?
Jim Neidhart.
I thought it was Neidhart for some reason.
It's spelled that way. It's
Oh.
Neidhart, though. That's right. So next we have Jinder Mahal versus Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose, Dirty Deeds, takes out Jinder Mahal. Not a very good, not an interesting match. It is what it is. Jinder Mahal's not very good, and Dean Ambrose takes him down.
He's more of a. Jinder Mahal's more of a calming guy, Braun Strowman.
Yeah, that's what he's trying to do. And so then let's talk about the main event for the last little bit of time we have left. This is where a big turn happened. We have Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns versus Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre. And the whole match was centered around Roman Reigns being stuck in the ring while Drew and Dolph kind of beat up on him. And he never can get the tag. He tries to get the tag, for Braun to come in, never can get the tag. Then he finally gets the tag, and guess what?
Braun, you want me to say?
Yeah.
He doesn't do anything, and he just waits for Drew McIntyre and them to beat him up, to beat Roman Reigns up in the center of the match in the ring. And once Braun Strowman comes in, he's not there to help Roman Reigns. He actually helps beat up Roman Reigns by doing his finisher, the I don't know what it's called, but he'll run and then he'll slam him, and he does that to him twice.
Yeah, it's just his power slam.
Yeah, and then Dolph Ziggler will do his move, which is zigzag, which is he'll do this.
Grab him from the back.
Yeah, and then he'll just jump back and make them land on their back. And then Drew McIntyre, I don't even know what his move is. I don't think he has a move.
Everybody has a move.
Oh. James Ellsworth doesn't, because he doesn't wrestle.
But obviously, so the big thing was heel turn. So now, because WWE is just all about Roman Reigns, want him to be a fan favorite. Braun Strowman was a fan favorite. Now they've turned Braun Strowman into a heel, into a bad guy, so
like
that
him.
Roman Reigns will be the fan favorite and the baby face.
Yeah,
So
but
they come down, that happens, then the Shield comes down, they beat up the Shield.
They beat up, they come separately, which I think is stupid. Like, it's one comes 5 minutes later whenever he's already
Dean Ambrose
beat up,
came down first.
and they just beat the crap out of him. And then now Seth Rollins comes whenever it's time for his turn to get beat up.
Yeah.
And he runs with all his might and acts like he's actually going to win the fight with Braun Strowman, Drew McIntyre, and
Dolph Ziggler.
yeah, I don't know why he thought that was smart. He was like, "Yay, 3 versus 1, I'm gonna win." Fights on in, dead.
Dead. So anyway, let's see how that's going to work. Let's see if people are going to start cheering for Roman more and the Shield, or is it still going to be the same old thing that people like? They like Seth Rollins and they like Dean Ambrose. A lot of people they just do not care for Roman Reigns.
Why?
And people like Braun Strowman. Are they going to turn? Will he get that reaction that the WWE wants now? That they want him to be a heel. We'll see in the coming weeks. So, decent Raw, SmackDown tonight, and we will have a post show for that as well. Again, good to be with you guys. We got a lot of stuff coming. You have 3 pay-per-view coming. You have Hell in the Cell, you have Evolution, and you have the Super Show in Australia.
Super Show.
That will be in October. So
Is that a new pay-per-view?
no, it's just a pay-per-view that they're going to do. It's not. Yeah, it's
It's
where
like
the Undertaker versus Triple H. It's just going to be like a one-off kind of thing, just one thing.
Oh, that's gonna. I don't see much of that match
I don't either.
because they're both old. They both don't fight as good. Undertaker's gonna win. Triple H is gonna try his best to lose. It's gonna look like, and then that's how WWE goes with matches with 2 old people.
So give us that like.
Subscribe. Put on post notifications so you can be notified every time we make a new video.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you. See you
Bye.
next time.